صل على سيدنا محمد
پنج وقت اذان و درود و دعا درس قرآن و ذکر رسول و خدا اہل بیت و صحابہ کا بھی تذکرہ دین حق کا سکھانا سلامت رہے دین حق کا سکھانا سلامت رہے میم کا ایسا جذبہ سلامت رہے میم کا ایسا جذبہ سلامت رہے.
देखते रहिए आपका अपना मीम टीवी.
बिस्मिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Muhammad Talha Barakati. I am your host for the new talk show called the Teen Talk Show. The reason we are present today is to discuss issues faced by our Muslim youth in today's world. As you know, our technology is advancing at an alarming rate. Over the past decade, we've achieved a lot as a human race. With that, our society is advancing at an alarming rate as well. And with that, we find it less and less convenient for us to follow the basic fundamentals of Islam today. The reason why we brought this show forward today is so that we can bring forward the issues that we face as youth, as students, as young professionals on a daily basis to practice the basic fundamentals of Islam. And that is why we're here today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce my guests for today, our students, our teen talk show guests. The first is Ariq Malik. Ariq is a student at Humberview right now. He is just about to graduate and currently applying for universities.
Assalamu alaikum. I am very pleasured to be here today as a host to talk about our society as a whole and how Islam is becoming more and more difficult to really practice as a growing Muslim.
The purpose of today's show is to discuss possibly the most important topic that we can discuss as Muslims, as youth today. It's about the 5 pillars of Islam. The 5 pillars of Islam form the basic fundamentals of Islam. It is what guides us to be a better Muslim. And today, more than ever, it is important for us to understand what these pillars are, how to implement them in our daily lives. The first pillar being Tawheed, which is believing that there is no one but Allah. Allah is the one God, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his last messenger. The second being Salah, which is praying 5 times a day and regularly praying. The third being Saum, or better known as fasting during the month of Ramadan. The fourth being Zakat, which means you sharing your wealth with those less fortunate in your society, whether that's your friends, family, or anyone you do not even know. The last pillar is Hajj, which is performed during the month of Zil Hajj every year by hundreds of thousands of Muslims. So, since Tawheed is a topic that is a little bit more difficult to elaborate upon, discuss, today we've decided to discuss the issue of namaz. What we're going to discuss today is the problems that we face on a daily basis when it comes to actually praying 5 times a day, whether we're at home, university, or at work. So I would like to talk to our guests today and ask them a few questions about the issues that they face and their life. So the first question I would like to ask is for you, Ariq, actually. So in your daily basis, do you get a chance to pray at school?
Unfortunately, at our school, it's more segregated in like Caledon, so we don't really get a chance to pray as there's not really much of a Muslim population we have at our school. Yeah, that's it.
So what about you, Ashaz? Do you get an opportunity to actually pray at school?
No, not really, as me and Dari go to the same school, and as he said before that there's not really that much of a Muslim population, So especially us being Muslim and a school full of mostly Indian and mostly Christian people, it's very like segregated in religion and so on. So we really don't get a chance to pray at school.
Makes sense. So my next question would be for you, Arik, then. Has the school actually taken any opportunity to create like a space for you guys to actually go and pray? Is there any type of prayer space available for you guys?
You could use the library. I have talked with the principal to do it. He said you may do it if you like, but I really don't feel comfortable just praying in school, as it doesn't work in a school full of people who are just watching you. It looks kind of awkward.
Makes sense. Now, so I wanted to actually ask you, Arik, do you have space in your school then to pray?
Yeah, actually we do have space. The school has given us like a boardroom in the library to actually set up as a prayer room and pray. Even though there is a couple of Muslim friends that I actually have, and we have in fact prayed there once or twice. But the problem really is that it's very awkward as a Muslim to be praying in a social setting where nobody around you is actually Muslim. People look at you, give you weird stares, and it's honestly just very uncomfortable to pray.
Honestly, I'll agree with you on that one because I've been there and I've been through that as well. Like there have been chances where I've been at work and I have to pray in front of people who are not from our religion, and I felt it a bit awkwardness as well while praying, because at the end of the day you do feel like someone's staring at you and looking at you. So I can totally relate with you in that regard. So I wanted to ask you as well, what is the biggest challenge that you face when you're praying then?
Even though there is a place to pray at Humberview, they've offered us a boardroom to pray and so on. Even if you can get past the part where people are staring at you, so on and so forth, but then making ablution or wudu is also one of the major issues, especially because to make wudu you need a supply of water, so you have to go to the bathroom, and then especially when there's people in the washroom and you're making wudu, you're always like splashing water in places and you're making like a small mess. People are looking at you weirdly, especially the main issue is when you're going to wash your feet. People are always looking at you, why is your foot in the sink? And it's like,
makes sense.
Exactly. It's really hard to explain. It's just like, especially because they don't share any of the same views as you, like religiously or anything. Yeah. So if you try to explain that, oh, I'm making wudu to like pray or something, they're gonna make it's gonna basically become a joke amongst them. And
it's awkward for you because they actually don't understand the customs of your religion and what you do on a daily basis, the significance of performing wudu and how it makes our prayer better, right?
Exactly.
That's the difference that actually exists and always will be there. So considering the fact that you guys did bring up really important points today, and there are gaps in my own personal knowledge, and to be very honest with you, some of the questions you brought forward I've always wondered about as well. Just like you mentioned, I've sometimes felt like I feel awkward praying in front of people or praying in front of a group of people who I feel like are watching me while I'm praying. Obviously we live in a world that faces a lot of Islamophobia. A lot of people feel not comfortable actually practicing their religion in public.
Definitely.
So what I want to do today is I want to bring forward a guest who is actually knowledgeable in this regard. So today I would like to introduce Allama Bilal Sadiq Attari Sahab. Allama Sahab has studied from the University of Houston and he has done his bachelor's in computer science. He then completed his Islamic studies from the Al-Noor Institute at Houston. After that, Allama Sahab has written several books regarding Aqidah, Arabic grammar, as well as fiqh. Currently, Allama Sahab is teaching at the Jamiatul Medina Institute right now. Allama Sahab, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. How are you, brothers? MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah, we are doing great as well. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. We are looking forward to you passing your knowledge to us. So today we are discussing the issues that we as youth face on a daily basis when it comes to actually praying. Whether it comes to us going to school, us going to university, Our guests here today, Ariq and Ashaz, brought forward some very important issues that we face on a daily basis. So I would like to ask you these questions and bring those forward to you so that you can elaborate more on them and actually guide us on how to do them better or how we can practice these, we can implement these better in our life, right? So the first issue that I would like you to touch upon is actually brought forward by Ariq, is the issue of us feeling a little bit awkward when it comes to performing namaz in front of a social setting where a lot of people are non-Muslims, whether that's in university. Like Ariq did mention that he has to pray in library sometimes, and most of his school members are not Muslims, so he does feel awkward. What can we do to get over that awkwardness?
نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله. Firstly, I would appreciate you brothers that you all got together and created the system where young people ask these questions that they face in their everyday life. It is for sure that namaz and wuzu, these are the things that we do several times during our day. As a Muslim, we have to do these things. And especially if you're at a university where there are people who are not from the same belief as you, or you're in a work environment where your coworkers are not from the same type of ideology that you have. And at that place, if you, as I heard the brother say, that when your sink is, if your feet is on the sink, then people think of it as, what are you doing? And if you tell them that I'm going to pray, this is something that's going to, allow me to pray my namaz, they're going to create a joke out of it. So definitely these are valid questions. I myself have, felt these or, felt the need to, have these questions answered. So inshallah, we will discuss the way we can, feel less awkward in a work environment or a university environment, inshallah. The thing is, namaz, salah, that is farz on, every Muslim adult who is sane 5 times a day. Okay, we know our namazes, Fajr, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. We have to pray these namazes whenever the time comes. Okay, just because we feel awkward or people don't understand, that is not, I guess, a good enough reason, right? No reason is actually good enough to skip the salah, right? We have to understand what is namaz, firstly, right? What is salah? Salah is basically when, you are in the court of the Almighty. You're in the court of Allah Azza wa Jal. It is as if you're basically having a conversation with Him. This is a big opportunity. This is a big honor for any Muslim that he gets to stand in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and, say a few verses of the Quran and read a little bit, the wazaif that are told to us, the tasbihat and all the other azkar that we do in namaz. This is a big honor. So firstly, we have to make this mindset that, Allah Azza wa Jal has given me a big favor. He has done a big blessing on me, allowing me to stand in His court. After we have this mindset, yes, it is true that, if you're at a place where, people don't share common creeds, common beliefs as you, common ideas, it does get hard. But in these kind of situations, we should try our best to look for a secluded spot. If you're in the university, there are always places where, there's less populated, there's less public over there. It's a secluded place. People don't usually go over there. Like, for example, in the library, then, I think nowadays people don't go to the library that much, or even if they do, they would go there for, some specific reason in a specific place. So there might be places in the library where you can go and pray, and chances are that people will not see you. That is for the school setting. In the workplace as well, you can, pray somewhere where there are people are not there. I mean, I've seen so many people, they're, carrying out their exercises, their yoga actions or whatever that is. People do all sorts of weird things. Um, they're
Because that's what I think as well. Because a lot of times I feel like we feel awkward completing our religious activities, whereas a lot of other people don't feel awkward the same way. Like I see a lot of times my Hindu friends, they practice Diwali, they practice other parts of their religious activities, and they are really happy. They make sure they get all their friends involved, whether they're Hindu or non-Hindu, and they actually take great pride in actually celebrating their events. But I feel like somewhere along the way we feel a little awkward doing the same, and that's the mentality we have to get over.
Yes, definitely. As I was saying, I was trying to mention a story I remembered a few days ago, or a few months ago actually. I was going somewhere and I saw a person, they were sitting on the ground and they were stretching out their hands and they were, doing yoga or something. And it looked really awkward. It looked really weird. But what I noticed over there, that whoever was walking from there, whoever was walking by, nobody even paid attention to that person, right? They were not, they didn't care what this person is doing. Okay, so that made me realize that most of the times it is just in our head that we're uncomfortable. People are gonna stare at me. People are gonna judge me. People are gonna make fun of me. These things are usually the waswasas, the whispers of the shaitan. Okay, sometimes or many times it happens that people don't actually care what you're doing. If you're let's say for example, if someone wants you to push ups out of random, right, and he starts doing push ups on the side of the university or in the library, I don't think anybody will care. Any onlookers, they will say, okay, what is he doing? Okay, people would say that, okay, that's his own business. Let's mind our own business. We have to do a lot of things, right? We should not care about this person. What is he doing? So um, we should try to basically change our mentality, change our mindset. It is usual that the people, they don't care. Yes, if someone wants to make fun, obviously, they won't stop just because you stop praying. Okay, our skin color is brown, right? Our get up, like if you have a beard, or if your name is Muhammad or any Muslim kind of name, if someone wants to make fun, he will make fun of you anyways, regardless if you're praying or not. So this these kind of things are just in our minds. If we go and pray, then people are gonna judge. People are gonna make fun of us.
Agree with that mindset, and I completely agree with everything that you said so far. It's all about being comfortable in your own skin at the end of the day. We should feel proud every single day to practice our religion, and at the end of the day we should remember that it's not about who stands around us, it's about who we are praying for, which is Allah. At the end of the day we should be more scared about what He will think about our prayer than what others will think about our prayer. At least that's something I've started learning over time.
Definitely agree with that.
Of course. At the end of the day, we're only praying for Allah, and whatever anybody else thinks about it, it really doesn't matter because Allah is the Almighty and the Supreme. So at the end of the day, we have to return to Him. And if we don't practice our religion right now, we're going to wish that we practiced it after.
I completely agree. Well said. So, Alama Saab, the next topic that I wanted to discuss with you is actually a topic that Ashaz brought forward, is the topic of wudu, which I actually wanted to discuss with you personally as well. So, as mentioned, we do feel a little bit awkward when performing wudu at work, just because of the water involved, and sometimes, as mentioned, we put our foot into the sink. People might think it's awkward that we're doing that. So what do you suggest we do in a situations like this? Also, I wanted to mention masa and the fact that I've actually come across a lot of friends who prefer doing masa at work rather than actually doing wudu. And that's what I wanted to discuss with you. Is that acceptable? And if yes, what are the conditions around masa? What's the way to actually do it correctly?
Yes, mashallah. In Surah Ma'idah, ayat number 6, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions the ayat of wuzu. Says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha qumtum ila salati fawsilu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq wamsahu bi ru'usikum wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bayn. Then the ayat is long. This part is mentioning the farais of wuzu. That, O people who believe, when you intend to stand up for salah, فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ, then wash your faces. وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ, and wash your hands along with the elbows. وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ, and wipe over your heads. وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ, and wash your feet إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ, along with the ankles. So these are the four basic things that everyone needs to do in wudu, basically to be eligible to pray. We know this, that without wudu, our namaz will not count, our salah will not be valid, as taharat is a condition for namaz. So these are the four things that everyone at least has to do. Okay, washing your mouth, rinsing your mouth, sniffing water up your nose. These things are sunnat in wudu. Okay, highly emphasized sunnat. Obviously, these should not be skipped either. But the fara'id of wudu are four, which I have mentioned. Now, obviously, these things are going to be done with water. You need water to do wudu. And like you asked, when we go over in like a library or in a public washroom area, we have to do wudu, and when we do wudu, the water splashes everywhere. So how to tackle this situation? Again, we should use as much water as we need. Okay, I've seen this, and you must have seen this too, that people use water more than enough. They wash their face like 5 times. Again and again they're washing, or when they wash their face, they take water in the hand and then they put it, like, splash it on their face. Okay, you don't need to like throw water on your face. You can easily just like apply the water on your face and make sure the whole way your face is getting washed. Okay, no need to splash. Obviously, since you're in like a public environment, there are people over there who might not understand what you're doing. So in this, you need to be really careful. And basically, you should be a good example, because Islam has highly emphasized, saving water. There are many narrations that we should save water even if we are in a river stream. Okay, the importance of saving water is highly emphasized in our religion. So if you do wudu properly, then yes, water will splash, but it won't make like puddles of water, or the restroom is not going to become the river of Furat in your library or in your work area. And yes, the next thing you asked was about masah. The masah on the leather socks, that is allowed as long as your the socks that you're wearing, those meet the requirements. That's the main condition. The socks that you're wearing should be of such a material which do not let water penetrate through and get into your feet. Okay, so the socks that we usually wear, the woolen socks, okay, those will not be allowed for masah. You need something like leather or some fat material which will stop water from penetrating in and touching your feet. Basically, it's really easy, and yes, this is a really convenient way. And this way, the problems will be solved, that you will not have to stick your feet up into the sink. So the method of masah is that you do your entire wuzu, okay, just like you do. Let's say you start when you're at home, before you leave for work or before you leave for your university. You do wuzu properly, just like we do. Complete all the farais. Wash your feet, okay, along with other farais. And then after your wuzu is done, okay, now you will put on the socks, okay. And now you have put on the socks. Now, if your wuzu breaks, okay, then you're allowed to just wipe over the socks instead of washing your feet in the wuzu. That means you will do wuzu exactly the same way, okay. But when the part of washing your feet comes and you're wearing leather socks, okay, so you can just wipe over them, okay,
fair enough.
And you can keep wearing these socks. If you're in the city, you can keep wearing these socks for 24 hours. If you're traveling, Shariat gives you more ease. You can keep wearing them for 72 hours, 3 days and 3 nights, if you're a traveler.
MashaAllah. That's amazing. That's something that I actually never knew, by the way. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's why we're here today, so that we learn about things we never knew about. And Jazakallah, I really appreciate you being here with us today, you sharing your knowledge with us, and you enlightening us on how to perform our daily tasks better.
Jazakallah for your time as well, and for the questions. If you have any other questions regarding masa or leather socks or anything like that, the other brothers as well, feel free to ask.
At this point in time, do you guys have any questions, Ashaz, Arik, for our guests?
I have just one question. So, with the masa, you know how you said we had to wipe the socks down afterwards? Is that a complete wipe down of the socks, or is it just like a little tap of water on top of the socks? Because it's still gonna make it kind of awkward if you have to completely just tap around the sock anyways.
Fair enough.
Yes, mashallah, really good question. On the leather sock, you're like, let's say for example, this is a leather sock. Let me just, right, let's say this is your feet and this is your leather sock. You're not required to do something like this on the masa. Okay, what you do is this is your sock. So your fingers, as long as your fingers are wet, okay, you can just take them upwards like this, and the masa will be done. Okay, so again, like let's say this is your feet. Okay, this is like your sock that you're wearing. You can just put your hands, the wet hands, and just pull them upwards towards your ankles. Okay, as long as the front part, this part of your feet or the socks have been wiped, okay, with wet hands, that will be enough. Okay, you don't need to wipe the entire socks. That's not required. You just have to basically move 3 fingers at least. 3 wet fingers from the middle part of your feet. Okay, and that's not going to take a long time. You can just take these 3 fingers like these and move them backwards, and your masah will be done. That is, the masah part is really easy.
It makes it a lot easier to just do wudu in public. It makes it very achievable as a Muslim in today's society.
I totally agree. Thank you so much, Alama Saab, for being with us here today, and we do hope to have you around in the future as well. Assalamu alaikum. So I would like to end today's show by actually thanking our guests to be here present with us today, taking part in it, elaborating on their issues and helping us solve those issues. I hope this show was a learning experience for everyone watching here today. I hope that this helps us perform our tasks better, help us become better Muslims. Thank you so much for being here today, guys. Jazakallah.
Thank you very much for having me. It was actually an honor, and I was cleared of any doubt I had in the questions that were presented today. MashaAllah, I'll pass it on to Ishaz.
MashaAllah.
Thank you once again for having me, and it was a great opportunity, and it cleared up any confusion or questions that we had today.
With that, I would like to take my leave today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
फहाशी और म्यूजिक से पाक, गुनाहों से बचाने वाला आपका अपना मीम टीवी।
पंजवक्ता अज़ानो दुरूद व दुआ दर्स कुरआन व ज़िक्र रसूल खुदा अहले बैत तो सहाबा कभी तज़किरा दीन हक़ का सिखाना सलामत रहे दीन हक़ का सिखाना सलामत रहे मीम का ऐसा जज्बा सलामत रहे मीम का ऐसा जज्बा सलामत रहे।
देखते रहिए आपका अपना मीम टीवी।